I don't really have anything wrong with worker co-ops per se, but when you think about like hypothetically forcing all businesses to like become worker co-ops, I just there seems to be flaws in there in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
um, for example, like a big corporation like Google, would people if they owned the means of production, would they really make that much more money? Would they really benefit that much more from that?
Oh, is Hunter messaging me now? Yeah. Hey, Hunter, what's up?
Hey, Xander Hall, how you doing, man?
Oh shit, your mic sounds. Are you using a different mic than
Um,
the
Hold on.
desktop one?
Let me check. I might have my settings messed up.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds completely intelligible. It's just like your mic looks better than it sounds. So I'm curious if it's using the wrong mic input.
This should be better now.
Oh yeah, way better. Okay, I knew it. Yeah, that's crisp, nice and crisp.
There we go. Now
Um,
you can hear my luscious voice.
Hell yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, we are still due. You, me, and Vosh to play Fortnite.
Oh shit,
It's
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's been on the back of my mind for a while. It has been like 7 seasons since you proposed that, I think, of
Oh really?
Fortnite at this point. Yeah, it's been like 7 seasons or something.
Well, we'll
I
have to see if
literally,
this
yeah.
we'll have to see if the bridge gets burned after this conversation, you know? You might not want to play Fortnite with me after this.
Oh, I'll play Fortnite with anybody, okay? My pastime when I play Fortnite is just getting into random duo like matches with people and just like trolling them while we do random duos in voice chat. It's great. It's really fun.
Yeah, that shit is
Um,
fun. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and explain to me your position? I saw that you made a video about my Shoe0nhead debate in reference to the guillotine meme.
mhm.
Um, I saw that it was like an hour long. I skipped through it briefly. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the whole thing. Um, so yeah, do you want to kind of lay out where you disagreed with me on that?
Um, I don't really disagree with you on all that much, but yeah, we can. I want to say Shoe0nhead's actually in my chat right now, so I'm going to be saying this to both of you. All right, Hunter, you won the debate. You obviously have more debate skill. You've got more practice. Shoe0nhead doesn't really do debates. I think this is like your second one. You most certainly won the debate. I'd say in the eyes of most people. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And while I lean a little bit more on Shoe's side,
Hmm.
I am also very empathetic to your side of things, both because of my own bias, because I really think the guillotine memes and the eat the rich memes are really cringy. They're just
Hmm.
not my cup of tea. If you look at my Twitter or my streams, or I mean, you know me fairly well. I mean, you've seen me around. I never say those memes. I never make those jokes. They're just not my thing. I think they're off-putting, bad optics, kind of cringy. But insofar as
Right.
them inspiring violence, I don't think they're quite. I don't think they're even close to comparable to the alt right memes. I think the goal and the tangible outcome of like left wing memes that have sort of violent undertones. I feel like in both these cases, they encourage people in a different direction and they have different outcomes than like the right wing, like Nazi, like sort of jokes meant to desensitize people to violent rhetoric towards non white people, for example.
Well, right, and I think that like it's totally fair to say that one is probably worse than the other. Like there's a much greater risk of someone being desensitized to like anti-Semitism and then taking that out on like their Jewish neighbor or friend or something like that. I recognize that, and I also recognize that they're not like a one-to-one comparison, but I think that the similarities are still there in the sense that it does normalize you to certain ideas. Just, I guess my question would be if it worked with the alt-right, why couldn't it work this way also?
I'd agree that it could absolutely work this way. The problem is there's a couple of things. For starters, left-wing memes, even the ones that I guess you could say encourage violence or have violent undertones, like the that one guillotine meme, that absolutely has violent undertones, or at the very least is advocating for violence against rich people as a solution to our problems. For one, I don't think that's the a good attitude to inspire among the left, but the reason why I don't think these are comparable is because you're just not seeing this, right? You're not seeing a lot of left wing people going out and engaging in violence against the rich, mostly out of
But I
their
think
inability to do so, but also because I don't really think that's a reasonable outcome for left wing like memes like this. I don't like them. I'm not a big fan of them, but it's obviously on a totally different level, and
I
you
feel like
don't see
people said
this
the
really
but
being a
people
thing.
said the same thing about the alt-right. Like several years back, they would have said the same thing. Like LOL, who's going out and being violent after looking at a fucking meme? But like now we've come a long way and we are able to recognize the way that media can sort of subtly soften you to certain ideas.
Yeah,
So
and in the case,
just if it's not like just if it's not bearing out violence right now doesn't necessarily mean that it's not subtly changing your mindset or making you more empathetic to certain extremist and violent ideas. I don't know if you watched my follow-up conversation with Vosh.
oh yeah, I
Um,
did. I watched it last night while playing Rust.
okay, got it. Yeah, so I don't know how you felt about what I said to him about how I also feel like this normalizes the idea of blaming the individual instead of the system.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I like myself, like I said, that those memes aren't my cup of tea. I don't think they're quite comparable to like alt-right memes in that my criticisms of them and my suggestions why I think more left-wing people should avoid those memes are just different from your perspective. My view of things watching the debate was that you yourself were part of the right. You weren't a Nazi or alt-right. I mean, some people say that, but that's just not true. I was aware of your content before you started, moving your political opinions and reconsidering your beliefs.
Mhm.
You were a conservative, and you were there, and you witnessed the way that the right used memes and jokes and whatnot to sort of push their agenda. It was sort of like political humor with actual political ideas as the chaser, as I believe the
Right.
alt-right playbook said. The difference here, I think, now I have a joke response that's kind of true, and you probably agree, but it's a jokey response and a serious one. So my joke response would be, that's kind of legit, is that left-wing people, like, they don't act like right-wing people. When the alt-right wants to do something, they go storm the Capitol, they get their dad's gun, and they go shoot up a school. They go out, they go shoot up a mosque. They actually go out and they act on these things because right-wing talking points and right-wing demagogues encourage that kind of shit, whether it be stochastically or like actually telling people to do it, like on
Doesn't
4chan and shit like
necessarily
that.
that's might be true, but like it's true that generally, especially if you look at like what the State Department says, right wingers do commit more acts of domestic terrorism. Of course, that's I'm not denying that as much as I don't know. I just feel like I guess it's a joking response. So go ahead.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
your serious response?
yeah, I mean, I want to add a little bit more onto that. Like, if you see the kind of spaces you get in the left compared to the right, they can be very insular and they can be very toxic, but it's in a very different way
But it
than you
doesn't
see it on the
necessarily
right.
have, even if you were completely correct, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be lefties carrying this out. That meme appeals to like a broader audience. That meme
Like
could have,
Nazballs.
like Nazballs, like even like populists, just general populists who just
Yeah.
hate the elites at all costs. Like that's the kind of mindset that those people might not be in super lefty spaces or something. And also, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be. I'm not saying it's like a one-to-one thing. I'm not saying people are going to obviously look at this meme and then just become violent or go kill rich people or something like that. I don't think that that's what's going to happen. But I also think that it does soften you to the idea of extremist ideas. Guillotining the rich, I would consider that a pretty extremist idea and an extremist solution to climate change.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it would actually be a solution to climate change at all, really. But my my actual I think this is the strongest argument against these guillotine memes is that I think they set a bad precedent for the left when it comes to our mindset when analyzing like our problems. Because like you said, and like Vosh said, and like a lot of people have said following this drama and this debate or whatever, not really real drama, it's the systems that we need to worry about. If we killed every millionaire right now, a million, or not a million, but a few thousand other millionaires and billionaires would take their place, right? It wouldn't fix these problems. And I also feel like the left should generally side on the side of tenderness. Like edgy stuff is good, but typically the left kind of has a monopoly on sincerity and kindness in the political sphere on the internet, I would argue. Um,
I kind of disagree with that. I don't really think it matters if like they need to be if they're nice or not. Like I'm
mhm.
fine with edgy memes and edgy content in general. It's more just edgy memes that are presented as like this isn't just an edgy meme. It's a meme that's has violent undertones. Like I think we
Yeah.
both agree with that. And it also is posing violence as a solution to real political problems.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I don't like the memes and I think they're cringy and they're not my cup of tea. I just think the arguments that you used against the memes don't necessarily apply. I don't think they're analogous with the ones the alt right use. Because even back in the day when the alt right or even conservatives that were associated with people that they didn't know were alt right, like, were you there at VidCon 2016 with the Kekistan flag? Were you there for that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like when that happened, most of the people in that crowd holding up the Kekistan flag, most of those people weren't Nazis. So a lot of those people were just libs that like did a thing that they look back on and cringe to this day about. But some of the people in that lineup ended up becoming like crazy white nationalist types. Even back then in those days when everyone was saying, no, these memes aren't really causing violence. These memes aren't encouraging people to become, super reactionary or violent or extreme. Even back then, there were examples of this happening, right? Just a year after that, we had the Charlottesville, where you had people walking around with like, obviously before that, even you had Richard Spencer with the Pepe pin and everything. You just don't see this kind of thing happening in real life when it comes to lefty memes. Most of the time, the worst it gets is you get tankies on Twitter brigading people like Merrick with like abuse and shit. And that's the kind of attitude I think LARPy memes like that make extremely online people feel like they're making a difference because they're tweeting out a meme about guillotining the rich. That is what I don't like about it. I think it encourages extremely toxic behaviors and toxic attitudes than the left, but I don't know if it's completely even close to comparable with alt-right memes. I suppose it is a violent meme, but I don't think it is in the same way the right-wing memes encourage violence.
I guess I would just have to, I just wonder why that is. Like, I understand that the outcomes are different. And I also understand that they're not one to one. Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like we could say the same thing. There were people sharing the guillotine memes where some of them were just like kind of LARPing around, but there were also some pretty radical, like maybe there are tankies in there in that bunch also that are like empathizing with those sentiments, right? Like we could see the same thing happen. We don't necessarily know, but I guess I don't, I know you already answered the question, so we're kind of going in circles, but I was just going to say it's hard for me to understand what makes people on the left, quote unquote, somehow like less susceptible to extremist ideas
I don't think
than
it's a
right wingers.
I don't think it's susceptibility. There wouldn't be as many tankies and class reductionists and Nosbles if you consider them on the left. I don't. If left wing people weren't just as susceptible to propaganda as right wing people are. I mean, I imagine many of the people in my audience right now. I hate to say it, but I imagine a lot of them have probably believed left wing things for a very long time, and they already agree with me and they watch me because I just sort of regurgitate the opinions they already agree with. They don't really like. I imagine that's the case for at least quite a few people in both our audiences, maybe. Yours probably less because of the nature through which you came about to make the content you do. But I think the big difference and the reason why I don't get worried as much about left-wing extremism is obviously like the stats they show it's not very common in comparison to right-wing extremism, but also like I can't imagine these tankies getting off of their ass
But
and
let's
going
just
and
talk.
doing
Let's not
something.
actually.
I can't imagine this. They
When we
sit on
take
Twitter all
away
day and
the.
complain about touch grass being ableist. It just doesn't seem like a group of people that are very dangerous.
Yeah, but if we want to step away from just direct outcomes and just look at it philosophically and sort of by itself, right? Like just comparing them as they are, there are definitely some similarities there in the form of dog whistling. Would you
Yeah.
not agree with that?
Well, it's not even dog whistling, really. The right is far better at dog whistling than the left.
I guess that's true. Dog whistling,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, the guillotine meme is pretty like straightforward. Like, yeah, kill the millionaires, right? It's like straight in your face. Like, yeah, the solution to this is killing the millionaires. That's the meme means. You don't really. It's not even. It's more of a bullhorn, if anything. But in the case of like more right wing memes, at least in my experience, they tend to be very esoteric and complicated, and they use a lot of like inside jokes in sort of like meme speak that
Hmm.
normies, as they are, wouldn't really be able to understand them, but people that are
Right.
already kind of in the know pick up on them. I don't think
Right, right, right. No,
obviously in this
I know
case they
that.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that like I don't know. I think that I can see some similarities there, but I think we might just kind of agree to disagree. But either way,
Yeah, I
I
suppose.
appreciate your perspective on it. I think that it's interesting because we both disagree with the meme, but we both have different reasons for disagreeing with it. It seems cool.
Yeah, I think from your perspective, I said this during my my coverage of the debate you had with Shoe0nhead.
Hmm.
My what I kind of picked up off of, and I don't know if this is like, you can tell me if this is like inappropriate psychoanalyzing, whatever, but I think like this is the case for me as well. Initially, having been from the right, you've seen how a political group can use memes as a way of radicalizing people to violence, and you're seeing similar behavior, analogous behavior in the left, and this worries you because the alt-right is terrible and you know it's terrible and you don't want the left to fall down that path or to engage in the same like bad tactics the right engages in. Is that accurate?
Partially, and I legitimately don't want people. We might have different like fundamental ideological goals at the end of the day, because I talk a lot about kind of trying to pull people more to being in the center, whereas I think that you
Mm-hmm.
might be more in favor of socialism. But like, I don't want people going down the line of like towards communism. I want people to
Mm-hmm.
be like a little bit more reasonable there at the end of the day too. So it's I think that part of it is an ideological goal for myself too, that I'm not afraid to admit.
Yeah, sorry, I'm popping my knee right now. Yeah, I think I mean, so you're like with your political stuff, I like respect like the not having label stuff, but I'd say on most issues now you're sort of like you observe it, you see what's going on, you do your research on it, and usually it leads you to a left-leaning position. Like
Well,
like you
I
take
consider myself like a
usually.
social democrat. So
Yeah,
like,
like that's the policy that I advocate for. Like my position is I like the idea of socialism, I like the theory of it, but for now, it's best to advocate for policies and politicians and other more achievable pragmatic goals that are more achievable. Like having Biden pass the what's it called? I forget what it's called. His healthcare plan. It's not Medicare for all. It's
yeah, the ACA.
public option. Yeah, something like that. Like goals like that that significantly increase the quality of living for people here in this country, and
Mhm.
obviously I advocate for policies like this around the world. These are the things I advocate more so than like I'm not going to circle jerk with my chat all day about how cool it would be if we had socialism when we're struggling to pass a public option for healthcare in this country. You know?
Right, yeah. I guess it's just, yeah, you I think you have like long-term goals as well, which is fine. I'm still looking into some stuff on socialism, but I don't know if it actually is that sustainable of a theory. It especially depends on how it's implemented as well.
Yeah.
So I know that like a lot of people, like Vosh talks about like market socialism, so that's a little different, but some of these
Yeah.
people are talking about like centrally planned economies.
Yeah, I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm more of a like if I could snap my fingers and put us in like a market socialist society, more like comparable to that of Sweden or Denmark or Norway to like right now, I think things would be a lot better. And that's the
Are they
kind of
market
goal.
socialist?
Well, not market socialist necessarily. There's like some aspects of it, like a lot of social programs and whatnot, but there's still a market.
It's
Like
my
the
understanding that those
idea.
people, it's like they're strong social safety nets, but
Yeah,
it's my
yeah.
understanding that I might not be.
Oh, you said I thought you said sock dem because people in chat were calling you a sock dem. Yeah, no, they're like social democracy type shit. But as
Yeah.
insofar as market socialism, I guess the idea is like workers own the means of production, but there are still markets. That's an idea I can go for. Like that's a society that I don't feel like is so crazy of a change that it's impossible that no one would ever be able to get on board with that. At
Mhm.
least in my opinion. But it's like things are better. You know, like it's an improvement on what we have now from like a socialist perspective. I would argue, but some people
I
disagree with
think
that.
personally, yeah. I can see the benefits. I know that the studies available show that worker co-ops are pretty good, and like I don't really have anything wrong with worker co-ops per se, but when you think about like hypothetically forcing all businesses to like become worker co-ops, I just there seems to be flaws in there in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
um, for example, like a big corporation like Google, would people, if they owned the means of production, would they really make that much more money? Would they really benefit that much more from that?
Um, I mean, potentially, I suppose. Like the idea behind it, I guess, is like my like. So I am no expert. I don't know how we would implement socialism or communism. I don't think it's even realistic or like a thing that's going to ever occur in the future. Um, it, like
Communism?
I'm on board with yeah, communism, socialism, even market socialism. Like these are things so far off in the future that it's like
So why do you even, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sound rude. I hope I'm not coming across this way. But
Hmm.
why do you push for it then?
I don't really push for it that hard, especially not in the last, like, I'd say 6 months. Like, I used to be super idealistic. This is just something that happens over time. I used to be pretty idealistic and be like, yeah, I mean, I'll debate, like, I'll be like, yeah, socialism's better than capitalism. Here's why. I used to do that a lot,
Hmm.
like 6 months to a year ago, but especially in the last 6 months, I've been more like, I'm going to focus on advocating for policies that are like on the table right now. So I don't really, you're not going to see me pushing super hard for socialism.
Gotcha. I think that might be because
Yeah.
I haven't really caught up with you or on your content for a while. So I think that that might be why, because I remember you being pretty hardcore for socialism before. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, definitely before, especially around the time when I was like when I was really growing, I had a lot of people in my audience that are really like pushing me on the socialism stuff more so than like, let's be honest, I was what's the word for it? Qualified to understand. Like, I don't think you should sell yourself to an ideology you don't understand very well. And socialism, at least that time for me, was pretty complicated. Since then, I've read more, I've done more research, I've learned more. Time passes, you do your job more, and you learn more about it.
Right.
And I've just sort of like yeah, socialism sounds good in theory. It sounds pretty good. I mean, it sounds good, but we're not ever getting that in our lifetime. So let's focus on pushing society in a more progressive, better direction, and then we can talk about stuff like that when the standard of
Based.
living for everybody has significantly increased. That's what I want. Like
Based.
there's yeah.
Honestly. Yeah, dude, you should just join the SOCDEM army, man.
I mean, I've called
We're
myself a
gonna take
sock
over
dem for like six
Twitch.
months.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, welcome to the party. Yeah, we're gonna take over
Yeah.
Twitch. It's gonna be the SOCDEM army. We saw BreadTube for a little while, but it's time for the enlightened centrists, at least from an online sense, because I know lefties would
Yeah.
not consider us left. But
I mean, I consider you left leaning. I can like sock dems. I consider to be basically leftists. Like,
I feel like who's that
yeah.
one guy, that commie guy who's been picking up? Infrared.
Yeah, he's fucking hilarious. He's crazy, and he's probably a very bad person, but you can't lie and say he's not entertaining. He's very funny.
I've watched a little bit of his content, and it's like, I guess he's just a full-blown tanky, right?
He's a full-on tanky. I suspect he's trolling. He has to be. There's no way he's not. He's at least playing like
No,
a hyperbolic
he's
character.
he's probably playing it up, but he's also like, it's my understanding that he's pretty good at debate.
I've heard. Yeah, well, I wouldn't know because the one time that I talked to him was like during one of my. I used to do this thing. Now I do them high, but I used to do drunk media shares streams before I realized weed was better than alcohol. Base take on your part, by the
Hell
way.
yeah, yes.
Um,
Man, we're
I've
gonna
been.
here I thought we might not I thought we might disagree. We're gonna end up leaving this conversation. It's just a big friendly hangout.
That's what I suspected going in, actually. I'll take a hit right now. I'll get some of that indica in my system right now, just a little bit. Don't want to overdo it when I'm streaming, but
Hey, weed advice from a guy that loves weed. If you're ever back at your dispensary or whatever and given something to go for stream, sativas are really,
yeah, I'm a sativa
really,
guy.
yeah.
I like I use like right now what I've been using is this indica pen mostly because it helps me chill out a little bit, like indica in the couch.
Mhm.
And I smoke sativa when I can. Try to get some bud and put it in my vaporizer where it, like vaporizes the flower, and it's
Yeah.
so clean, it's so smooth, and it makes me so giggly. Like watching something like any comedy, anything funny, music, anything like that while smoking sativa, and it's hilarious. But if you're just trying to relax, listen to a podcast and play a game, indica's where it's at. Or to help you sleep. Sleeping from like smoking some weed, it's a great sleep.
Yeah. I actually read that's true. I tried like I mainly do sativas just because I find those to be the most like mentally stimulating, but I
Right.
read something super interesting today that I didn't even know about. This is like a crazy weed fact, and this literally blew my mind. The THC count doesn't actually determine how high you get. Like
Really?
it play yeah, like so first of all, this doesn't go for edibles, just to be clear. Edibles obviously certain like 100 milligrams is going to be more and hit you harder than 10 milligrams, obviously. But when you like I don't know, I buy my weed medically, so I don't know if the dispensary like shows you the whole terpene makeup of the weed. Do you know what I'm
Hmm.
talking about?
Yeah, yeah. I watched a lot of weed stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Yeah. So that kind of shit, apparently the THC is not actually the biggest determinant on whether or not you feel really high. It
I guess
actually
that's
has.
not surprising because, dude, indica and sativa, like, they affect me in really weird ways. With indica, if I smoke too much, okay, if I smoke too much sativa, I will be dancing around the house like a Disney character, okay? And I'll dance so much because, like, I assume it's the CBD, like, it gets rid of all of, like, your muscle aches and joint pain. That's, like, a big
Hmm.
reason why I like CBD, and why I smoke weed. I'll be dancing around the house till I've moved around so much that I end up throwing up if I smoke too much
Oh my
sativa.
God.
But if I smoke too much indica, when I close my eyes, I feel like I'm literally falling through my
Yep.
chair, and I
Yes,
get
I
the
remember that.
spins like when I'm drunk, and that makes me throw up too. It feel
Oh,
I get the same thing when I'm drunk. So indica, I can't get quite as high on, but sativa, that's when I'll push my tolerance to the limit, and I'll see just how high I can get. I get so high sometimes when I close my eyes, I see like a black and white replaying GIF in my head. That's how high I
yeah.
get.
Oh yeah, dude. I used to get like so back when I was younger, before I would smoke weed medically, right? When I was mainly just like trying it out, I had my back bedroom area when I still lived at home, and I would every night I would like stick my head out the window and smoke a little bit of the joint, and
Yeah.
it was the same thing. I remember closing my eyes and just like it felt like just being transferred to another world. And remember how you like it's like feels like you can't even control your thoughts. Like it just feels like random images are just being like flashed in front of you.
I get
Yeah, no.
noises too.
Oh, really? Yeah, audible hallucinations. So that
Like,
you must get really high. I've been smoking
yeah.
for years, and I also
I'm 1 year in.
okay, yeah, I mean
Yeah.
I've been smoking since like 2017. So, and I also have more of a tolerance, so I don't know.
Yeah, I right now, I guess my tolerance has been getting really good. Like it's taken a lot more lately to get me high. I'm currently vaping an indica concentrate like pen,
Yeah.
so that's pretty strong. But yeah, like the first time I got high was the most high I've ever been. I can't smoke. I have to vape it or take an edible, though I've never done edibles before, and I'm holding off on it until I visit Vosh and Hyena because I promised them I would try edibles with them for the first time because they wanted to see me get fucking destroyed. So I'm
It's
saving off on edibles till then.
just be careful with edibles.
Yeah, I'll
They
be
are
careful.
fucking insane. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right, I have my chat cringing out over here telling me that this is cringe that we're talking about weed, even though I love talking about weed.
I love talking about weed too. Fuck them.
Yeah, fuck you guys. You know what? Let's just stoner stream now.
Yeah,
Fuck it.
I hold on. I really quickly, can I talk about the first time I got high because it was insane.
Yes.
Okay, so I was a straight edge kid, all right? Like even at my first job when I was 16, I was offered acid, weed. I got offered all sorts of drugs. There was a kid that I worked with. He was like 20. When I say kid, I was 16 at the time. I was a lifeguard. And he would offer me all sorts of drugs. I always turned it down. I never tried any drugs
Hmm.
except for alcohol. I had alcohol for the first time when I was 18. I got drunk for the first time when I was 19, and that was it. I drank twice before turning 21. And after that, I moved out to California with my girlfriend, and a couple of days after I turned 21, in a state where it's legal, I tried weed for the first time. So
Nice.
I was very straight edge about it. But I smoked this blunt way more than I should have. My girlfriend warned me to stop.
A
And
blunt. Oh man.
yeah, and I can't handle smoking because it'll make me throw up 100% of the time. But I smoked it, and I smoked way too much, and it hit me with a bit of a delay for some reason. And the first thing that happened was I couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing too loud. My neighbors were liable to call the cops and do a noise complaint. I was laughing so loud at everything.
Yep, I remember
And
stuff like this happening.
I was hearing show tunes in my head. Like I had no control over the music I was hearing in my head, but it was like some old-timey like 60s casino show tunes type music in my head, and I was seeing this gif, this black and white gif repeating in my head every time I like closed my eyes of like a Rubik's cube unraveling. It was making a weird noise that I cannot even begin to try to uh, put into words.
Damn.
And then I threw up. I was in a Discord call with my friend on my phone, and I had the phone on the floor, and when I threw up, I leaned over and I threw up on the phone. So my friend got like like the perfect view, looking through the camera at the phone, looking straight up at me as I leaned over and threw up onto the camera. He was not happy. And then my girlfriend had to clean it up because she's amazing.
Oh my God. You sound like you had a much better first time experience than I did though, because my first time with weed was really bad actually. Because I had only drank up to this point. I too was kind of like I was straight edge to the sense that I didn't drink any alcohol until I must have been like 20. I would have been 20 or maybe 20. No, yeah, I would have had to be 20. So I would drink,
True shit.
I would literally go like in my room just like do shots alone, which was kind of unhealthy. But yeah, then the first time I did weed, I was really depressed when I was younger. Um and
Uh,
I didn't realize how the way that weed like makes you sort of confront some of that. And I became like an emotional mess, literally. I was like
Holy
out
shit.
Yeah, I was like out of control. It was bizarre. And I was like, I'm never doing weed again. I'm only sticking with alcohol.
That's what I said after my first time too. And then
And
I
then
just
you
kind of
like,
like,
but
you
there's that
know,
thing in the back of your head. You're like, but there were those times that it was really cool and I kind of want to try it again.
what made me keep trying it to the point where like I could start getting high consistently without getting completely nauseous and throwing up was just like the fact that everybody loves weed basically. Like it just the fact that everybody fucking loves weed made me say, "All right, there's something I'm missing." People describe it as tasting piney or like sort of citrusy. I never taste that. It tastes like garbage. I'm going to try
Mm,
vaping it so it's a clean pull and I'm gonna try to get like the nicest tasting weed I can find. And I really weaned myself in with this orangeade bud that I was vaping for a while
hmm.
in my vaporizer, and since then, like just vaping or like vaping with a vaporizer or vaping juice.
Hmm.
I can handle the flavor just fine. It doesn't bother me anymore. I used to hate it. Like I could not handle the flavor of weed. It made me throw up.
Really? Man, you must have like you must be kind of sensitive to that shit. I don't
When I
know.
first talked about my problems, like a lot of people said that I might have a weed allergy. I'm glad it's not the case because I have yet to encounter anything I'm allergic to in my life, which is nice.
That is
But
nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
got
don't
real
know. The
lucky there.
first few times also like even though my first time was really rough, I kept wanting to just try because for me there were like times that I would remember when I was high that I was like, okay, but that thing was kind of cool. I kind of want
Mm-hmm.
to see what this would be like. And then I had like multiple other like really bad highs, mainly because I was like it sounds so funny now, but like I was just doing what I thought you were supposed to do when you smoked weed instead of actually doing what like I wanted to do. So I would be like in my room alone smoking weed. I'd have the lights really dim. I'd be listening to like chill rap music and it would just like end up putting me for some reason in like bad vibes. So like
Wow.
the first thing I did to start getting used to weed and actually liking it was I just like would turn on my lights. And just that, I was like, wait a minute, I feel a lot more like not stressed out. It doesn't feel so dark and dreary in here anymore. And then from that, it just I just tried it more and more and then I started listening to all sorts of different music and before I knew it, I was just like almost every night I was just smoking weed.
For me, the cure to depression, like if I'm ever feeling really down in the dumps, getting high and listening to either Bob Marley or watching Bob Ross. No connection there that their names are both Bob. It's just that it is the most wholesome content you can find. It's very pleasant while you're high, and it just puts me in a good mood. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah. Well, since I use it medically, like my doctors literally prescribed that I use
You
medical
get the
marijuana.
real shit. You get the real shit that us, what's it called? Consumer grade, like recreational weed users can't get. You're getting the real
I
shit.
don't know. I'm sure that shit's still really strong. What's the regular THC count over there?
I mean, we're in California, so every strain is already stronger than anything that like people were smoking back in the day. But where's my last tube of Shake? Because I've been mostly using Shake because it fits in my vaporizer. I actually don't have it here. It was Blue Dream, and I think like the
Oh,
THC was like it was like 25% or something. It
so
was
yeah,
fairly significant.
You're getting good shit, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on. I enjoy this conversation a lot, and honestly, I would continue just talking about weed, but I do have other topics I need to get to.
Oh yeah, man, no problem. Funny thing before I go, I actually am coming straight off of last night's late night gaming stream. I stayed up all night, scheduled my stream for the morning, and now I'm going live for the second time
Damn.
while being awake. Yeah, I mean, it was super excited to come on and talk to you. So I stayed up all night. I was
Nice.
like, fuck it, let's go.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
enjoy your
Thanks,
stream, man.
man. Thanks, dude. I hope that we get on a hippy dippy panel together sometime soon.
Oh yeah, I felt so cheated out of getting to debate alongside of you and possibly debate you during the Hippy Dippy Rumble. That was I felt like I had that stolen from me. What we
Yeah, that
gotta
was
do is
that was a
me,
little.
you, and Shu gotta smoke some weed together, okay? Dream blunt rotation, all right?
That would uh maybe me, you, and Vosh. Sorry, show.
No, I feel it. I've
No,
seen
but that's right.
Shoe0nhead do
Vosh
that
doesn't
one
like
video
weed,
high.
so never mind.
Oh
No,
yeah, he doesn't.
he's out of the
No,
club.
we could peer pressure
So
him. We could peer pressure him. Come on.
yes,
I feel like he'd succumb to the peer pressure pretty quickly.
we'll be like, "What are you, chicken? Come on, soy boy."
We could get him. We'd
Yeah.
fucking get him, I think. Anyway, man, thank you for having me on. It's been a fun talk.
For sure, man. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. I'll see you around, okay?
See ya.
Bye. What a nice conversation. I love Hunter. I think Hunter is genuinely probably like one of the most respectable people in the political scene. Like, I know he has principles. I know he's not a grifter. I know he believes in what he believes in. Like, the fact that he went through with his sort of political change of heart that he had, and despite how much it fucked with his channel, the fact that he still went through with all of that and continues to this day, like tells me like there's no way he's a grifter. He actively stepped out from the content that was making him money because he knew it was wrong. That's like very admirable. If you enjoyed that video, please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon if you haven't already, so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. Follow me on my social media down below, my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, all of that. Of course, my Discord as well, where you can play games with me or watch different TV shows. We do watch parties there, or just talk to me or debate me in general. It's a good community for people who like my content. And of course, if you want to, if you can afford it and you don't need the money for anything else, any contributions you can make through donations, subs, anything like that on my website, YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, or Streamlabs are greatly appreciated. We're currently saving up for the Valve Index VR gear so that I can do some, like, especially around Halloween, some scary game streams with VR. That sounds really fun to stream. So yeah, we're saving up for it. We need $1,000. We're about $400 in, so any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, no matter how you support me. And don't forget, if you watch the whole video, comment down below your favorite food. And if we like the same food, I'll heart the comment. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.